Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here for one of the latest talk about the OXP 2024. We have seen so many new things about Odoo 18, new features, new modules. The performance in Odoo 18 is going to be awesome. And you might want to say Odoo 18 is going to be easy to sell. It's true. But it's not only about selling Odoo. It's also about offering the best services possible to our customer in order to make sure that we keep them as long as possible with us. And also making sure that we can offer our actual customer the benefit of working together with these new features from Odoo 18. And therefore, we need to offer maintenance and upgrade services to our customers. Today, I will speak, together with my colleague Nathan, about the best practices that you can apply to your maintenance and upgrade services with your customer. I will start talking more about the business aspect of those maintenance and upgrade contracts, and Nathan will discuss more about the technical best practices that you can apply to those services. Don't hesitate to submit your question via the QR code that is available here, and that will show again at the end of the session. Let's start with the business side. But I want to start with explaining a bit today's reality, and therefore we'll take a look at the life of an ERP implementation. And we'll analyze the customer satisfaction during the different phases of a implementation project. It usually starts with the company that is unsatisfied. Unsatisfied because they are inefficient. They have to record everything twice. They have to ask for information to other departments. They don't get access to it. Everything is going slow inside the company. And therefore, they start looking for other solutions, other ERP that are available on the market. And they will meet different integrating partners that will present all the new cool features. And those companies will start dreaming about how efficient their company could become using this new software. And that is what we call the seduction phase. And at the end of the seduction phase, when satisfaction went high, the customer will choose to go with one of the solutions. And that's when starts the implementation phase. And during the implementation phase, we have to make hard choices. We have to decide if we are going to do more or less customization, try to stick to the standard. We will need to do some concessions, and we'll make a hard choice in order to see if we need to adapt or not to the system. All those hard choices to make will decrease the satisfaction of the customer. And then comes the go live. And after maybe 2 weeks, something like that, the customer needs to adapt. He will notice that he gets more and more efficient and used to work with this new tool, and he's much more working much faster than he used to do before. We have a happy company that has a new tool and is getting used to it. The change was hard, but it's now working. Usually, that's what most of the company are facing. They start with a low level of satisfaction, then after stage phase they are higher, lower with the implementation phase, and higher again after the go live. And that's where companies have two different paths. Either we have companies that after 2, 3, 4 years keep continuously improving their system by fixing their bugs, adding new features, improving the efficiency of their system, etc. And those companies keep on improving, and those company satisfaction level goes higher. But we have other companies that don't fix their bugs. And they don't fix their bugs, everything is getting slower, it's harder to get maintenance and support, and they get until a point where the system is even less efficient than what it used to be before. And the question is, why are some companies getting dragged down by the weight of their technical debt? Well, we'll try to answer this. First of all, there is one point, it's the fact that some companies stick to older version. And when they stick to older version, it's getting harder and harder for them to upgrade and maintain their services. They have more bugs, they are used to work with older features, everything takes more time. It's not only related to Odoo, but to any kind of solution out there. The more the version is older, the more complex it becomes to maintain it and make it evolve. Even when you use older phones, older hardware systems, you are even wondering if it will be compatible with your older version of the system. Another reason why some companies are struggling to continually improve is the fact that for some integrators, some companies, the majority of the revenue comes from the integration. And once the customer is live in production. They don't care about fixing issues and bugs here and there. They don't spend time into improving the system and upgrading their customers anymore. And therefore, the customer is not benefiting from the best services that they could expect from the partner and the system. And of course, some customers don't have good maintenance contracts. And therefore, whenever the problems occurs, we have those kind of endless and annoying discussion that starts of who's responsible to fix these issues with the partner. A classic example is whenever you have a patch coming from the system that breaks a customization code from the customer, and of course, the partner says, it's not my fault, and the customer says, it's not my fault neither. Who's going to fix this? Well, of course, those are the kind of things that would have been solved with a maintenance contract. All those issues that we discussed just before are leading to the following issues. We have customers that are stuck on unsupported version. Did you know that at Odoo, more than 52% of our customers are with more than 3 years of experience on Odoo are on unsupported version of Odoo? It means that more than half of our customers are not benefiting from the support and the maintenance for their standard in Odoo, and they are not having the upgrade system. All those unsatisfied customers lead to a higher risk of churn. They have systems where they have more and more bugs, more and more problems, and it's harder to upgrade the system. And whenever they come to thinking to upgrading the system, of course, they will be considering changing the system instead. Or they even might consider changing to another partner, a partner that offers a better level of service for maintenance and upgrade. So don't hesitate also to consider the fact that you are missing opportunities. Missing opportunities to sell more services. Because each time you will upgrade one customer, it means that you will implement and configure new features, new modules, that you will have to train new users, and that you have the opportunity to have a broader scope, which for you can offer also maintenance and upgrade services. So I don't think that I need to highlight even more the importance of having a maintenance contract or an upgrade contract. But now comes the question of what type of contract should you sell? And we'll look at the different key elements that we need to find in a contract and how to evaluate the value of a contract. But if there is, before that, one major message that I want you to remember from this presentation, it is that any contract is better than no contract. It is important that you make sure that your customers are supported and helped, and that they are not left there on the side without any support. So of course there are some contracts that are better than others for situation, but we will see what are the key elements first to start with. One of them is the internalization of cost. We know that of course there is in the beginning the implementation cost, but there will be at some point costs related to maintenance and also for the upgrade. And as we know that they will occur, those kind of costs, it's important that we understand the customer that they will have to pay for it and they need to budgetize it. And the better is that they should provision for this kind of costs. In order for that, we need to include those in the discussion from the start, so that we make sure they prepare a budget and that they are ready to pay from the start for this cost that will come. It will make things easier for them, paying on a recurrent basis, monthly or yearly basis, instead of having to pay all at once when the problems come. And also they will have the feeling that they are paying for a service that they will get. It's like a prepaid insurance, and it will offer them the peace of mind that whatever happens, it will be fixed and solved by the contract. So don't hesitate to include all those different aspects in your contract. Now, what are the benefits of those management contracts, of course? Well, first of all, we discussed it, the better customer experience because they can benefit of the latest feature, the best service, everything is covered by the contract, and they have this peace of mind related to it. For you as a partner, there is the incentive of maintaining the older customer because you know that you are getting paid for it, and there is also the opportunity to upgrade them and generate more services that you can sell. And also, because you are offering excellent services, and the better the implementation you do, the less time you will spend on maintaining it, and the bigger your margin will be. Now, of course, if you also offer longer-term contracts, it means that those customers who are paying upfront, and they expect to get those services later. So you raise the retention rate of your customer as well, locking them up they are already paying for services that they will get. And of course, because you are getting a recurrent revenue for this maintenance fee and upgrade fee, you know exactly what is the minimum revenue that you will get for each customer and the budget that you can allocate to the support of each one of those customers. Now, how to evaluate the value of this contract? If you remember, 4 years ago, we introduced the standard maintenance contract. It was a contract proposed by Odoo where we were offering the guarantee that Odoo would act as a backup, and we would guarantee that Odoo would be there eventually for the maintenance, the support, and the upgrade of the customer. It was offering a better and simpler customer experience because everything was included in one contract. The budget that they needed to pay for the maintenance was based on the amount of lines of code of customization. The more they were developing, the more they were paying for the maintenance, which is exactly the philosophy of Odoo. It was also a system where it was easy to audit and to understand what you were paying for. We could at any time look the amount of lines. It was very transparent. And the monthly installment, like Spain, made it much more affordable. Now, we discussed the model based on line of code. It's with a good tool to limit the development. It's easily transparent, and it also rewards the customer that are spending money into refactoring the code because there is less lines of code. They will pay less maintenance fee. But it's also nice for you partners whenever you use third-party apps from the community. You don't know how to evaluate the maintenance fee on it. Well, just look at the lines of code, and those kind of systems helps you define the amount that you should ask. We also have the percentage of the total budget of implementation. That is a very famous and known practice market. Usually turns around the 20%. It's easy to explain and to present, but it has also a negative aspect. And finally, we have the time and material system, or the on-demand system, where you just wait for the problems to occur to fix them, or wait for the upgrade to come to fix it, but you have no budget, no insurance, and the customer was not provisioning for it. So all the issues that we discussed before can come related to it. And then in terms of best practices, of course, we have the amount of upgrades that you will do in a contract defines, of course, the profitability that you will have. So if you want to fix a fixed amount that the customer needs to pay for maintenance and upgrade, make sure that you limit or you define the amount of upgrades that they would get with it. Otherwise, you will do too much upgrade and the profitability will go down. Of course, you want to define also what is included in the contract and what is not included and which for the customer will have to pay. For instance, with an upgrade, you have the technical upgrade that just consists in taking the old version code and transforming it into the new version code of Odoo. That's pretty easy to define upfront, but the functional upgrade is defining what we were doing in terms of functionality and process in the older version, and will we be able to do it with the same architecture in the new system? And isn't there in the new version any new module that was doing exactly the same thing and we used to do with custom code that we could drop? Those are the kind of analyses that you will need to do whenever the new version is released and that you cannot estimate upfront. And of course, don't hesitate to use our upgrade support services via our development on demand services that are there to help you if you need it. We invoice our partners on a time and material basis, but we are there to help you because we want to make sure that you can offer the best services to your customers. And finally, a small tip is to give a budget or a timing to your upgrade teams or your maintenance team, because they need to understand how much time they can spend on each customer. Of course, you have contract that covers everything for the customer, but they need to understand when to spend more or less time, and you need to keep track on the profitability on this customer. And if you go over that maximum amount you fixed, then you will need to look up for the support for those next time customers. Thank you. Now I will let the word to Nathan to present the technical best practices of upgrades.
Thank you, Donna, for this amazing presentation on the business side of upgrade. Now I'm Nathan, a technical consultant in the upgrade team, and I'm going to talk about the technical side of upgrades. So, of course, you can still find the pad here if you have questions at the end of the presentation. But in the technical agenda, we're going to see the documentation that we updated last year. I'm going to also talk about Studio and its impact during upgrades. Then we'll talk about migration script versus doing the action manually. Finally, we'll share a few tips and tricks that we use here at Odoo when developing upgrades. And finally, of course, we'll have time for a few questions. So as I said, last year we updated our documentation and we added 3 new pages related to standard databases, custom databases, and of course a page on how to write custom upgrade scripts. You can find the page on odoo.com/documentation under database management upgrade, and this page will help you better understand, plan, and execute upgrades with your clients. We like to put an emphasis on testing because it's very important to test any new feature you release. So with your upgrade, since there can be many new changes, we recommend that you and your clients test the database that they receive. We have a basic test checklist on the documentation, but we also recommend to go further than that. So as I said, we also published a page on customized database because those have an additional step, which is to upgrade the custom code itself. And this can be done also thanks to the upgrade scripts, another page that we added, which are tools to execute actions automatically. Now I'm going to talk about Studio and its impact with upgrades. Studio is just like custom module for developing new features, so you should be aware of the risk that it poses when you add new feature that might introduce bugs and issues. It can definitely increase the probability of issues, and that means that can also increase the maintenance cost for you since you would have to fix them. Now, during the upgrade, you should test it since it's just another tool for development. You wouldn't deploy a new feature to a database without testing it first, right? The same goes for features developed with Odoo. Now, if you have issues, obviously, you can always ask odoo.com, go to odoo.com/help to ask for our help, and we'll see if we're able to help you to improve the upgrade. Now, if you have custom module and Studio, we generally recommend to avoid mixing the two. Because, for example, if you build Studio views with custom fields, so Studio on top of custom, you would be responsible for the maintenance of the view itself since it contains custom code. So as a rule of thumb, if you're able to do both custom module and Studio, we recommend that you stick to custom module. For example, if you have good developers or if you are a developer yourself in your team. Now let's finally talk about custom upgrade scripts versus manual actions. So scripts, as I said, are automated tools to execute actions manually. So that could be either creating a sales order, enabling a settings, modifying a view. And that means that if you write the script once, you can be sure that it's going to be executed through all your tests and your upgrade to production. This means that you don't have to redo the work every time. It can also be helpful if you try to migrate data, if you change it in your custom code, for example. Now, how do they work? So you can see the structure here of a custom module with the name of the module as the name of the folder, followed by a subfolder called migrations that contains a folder with the version of the module. All the files in this folder will be executed once the module reaches the target version. Now, there is also a prefix for the file that's highlighted in blue, but you can find more information on the different phases of the upgrade in the documentation. Now we're going to look at an example of a custom upgrade script. So in this situation, you can see that we are going to a company and we set filter allowed carriers to true. This would be the equivalent of going to the setting page, scrolling all the way down to find the parameter, checking it, and then saving it. So having it written like this in one line of code allows you to gain time and to make sure that you wrote the code once and it's going to be executed multiple times every time you test. Can also be very useful if you change, for example, the compute method of a custom field. This will allow you to recompute all the fields, all the records, to make sure that the value in it corresponds to the code that you recently changed. As you can see, we also import a library called util. And this library, alongside custom util, has been released last year and will help you with all the recurrent issues you might encounter when upgrading, such as if you rename a field, you will have to migrate the data in it to the new column in SQL. And this can be done thanks to the util package that is developed, used, and maintained by the R&D upgrade team and used in all the various teams when they do code changes. We also published custom util under the PS Tech of Odoo. This is used in custom upgrades when we work with customized database to also tackle the recurring issues that we face but the R&D might not face. Now, we'll share a few tips and tricks that we use here at Odoo in PS Tech. So first, I like to talk about the cost of changing standard modules. So generally, we recommend that you try to avoid modifying standard apps. For example, if you have a business of T-shirt printing, you might want to create a whole new app dedicated to it instead of for example, changing the CRM app to fit your needs. This means that during the upgrade, if the R&D changes fields, view, etc., you won't have to rework everything you did because it will be separated from the standard code. Now, so as I said, standard code changes are going to be less likely to have an impact on your standalone customization. But obviously, you should weigh the pros and the cons. You should, for example, inspect the usage of the field to see if it's used elsewhere, and maybe how aligned is your feature with the standard app. For example, CRM is not a T-shirt printing app, but if you do a small tweaks here and there to the CRM, if you need that, then you might be a better idea to change CRM instead of creating CRM2, for example. So you should definitely ask yourself the good questions when deciding how to implement the feature. Obviously, this comes with experience, so we recommend that you gain expertise in the upgrade. This will allow you to build long-term with your clients, meaning that you're not going to simply deploy the feature and then move on to another client, but you let them know that you are here for them and you are here for the long run over the many versions of Odoo their database is going to get through, and to do potential more implementation in the future. This has a good feedback loop, meaning that when you do the implementation, you might make a few mistakes that you can fix during the upgrade, and you can inspect how well you did before, and you can take this knowledge and bring it to the next round of implementation, or even to other customers, meaning you're going to get better implementation, meaning that the upgrades are going to be more easy, etc., etc. We also recommend that everyone in your team should have done an upgrade at least once. Now, here in PS Tech, we separate it into two teams. We first have the implementation team that takes care of the customer, asking his needs, implementing them, and building a nice relationship with the client. While once this phase is over, we move the project to the upgrade team, which has a good knowledge of the upgrade process and is going to ensure that all the good practices are respected to make a maintainable product and to be able to implement it further upon it after the upgrade. This allows you to get the best of both worlds. Now, as a final tip, we recommend, as Donna said, to upgrade every 3 versions maximum. This will allow you to get all the new features of Odoo, also allowing you to not overgrow the technical debt that can drag your company down. And also, it allows you to stay within the supported versions of Odoo, which are the 3 latest versions. As Donna said, with the 20% budget for maintenance, that means that if you have a project of 3 years of development, with the budget of 20%, that will allow you to have 6 months to do the upgrade, which is definitely reasonable for such a project. So thank you, everyone, for listening to Donna and me. I hope you liked it. If you have any questions, please write them in the pad.
Thank you for the presentation, guys. We have a lot of questions and very few time to answer it, so let's start. Where can we get the templates for upgrading Odoo from version 6 to version 18? Is there a workflow to follow to perform upgrades from standard version of Odoo?
I think I'm going to answer it because it sounds a bit technical, but I don't really see what you mean with template, but basically you can upgrade from any version to the release version of Odoo. So even if you have a database in Odoo 6, version 6, you can upload it on odoo.com, upgrade.odoo.com, and it should be able to get through the process all the way to the version, in this case 17 or maybe 18 in a few weeks.
Although when we do such a huge migration, most of the time we'll often recommend to do restart the project from scratch.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Thank you. The second question is, you guys mentioned a template. Can you tell me more about it? I don't really understand. I would also advise to restart a fresh database with that much version upgrade. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, that's what.
That's exactly what he said in this case.
Perfect. We're gaining time here.
Yeah.
Great. What services does a partner offer for Odoo Online?
Well, basically, of course, exactly the same kind of for Odoo Online, you can do other kind of configuration. A database still needs to be configured to be adapted to the business. So those are the kind of services that a partner can offer through hours of services. And of course, when a customer cannot use the system properly because maybe he forgot how to do it properly, those are training and continuously training if necessary. And of course, still the upgrade services like we mentioned for any customers.
Thank you. Here we have questions about a customer running with Odoo 12, and he has a lot of customization, especially on inventory and MRP. Now they want to migrate to Odoo 17 or 18. What will be your suggestions? And what do we need as a developer to analyze and focus on before starting the migration? Since there is a lot of changes in the fields, the workflow, etc., is there any support document for upgrades?
So as I said, of course, you can upload it, but you can also take another look at it and try to see, okay, maybe let's start from scratch and import all the data. In some cases, that might make some sense, but of course, it's going to always depend on a case-to-case basis. In this case, if there has been a lot of changes with inventory, it might be recommended to start fresh and import all the important data, such as accounting, contacts, sales, etc.
Thank you. What is the standard support contract pricing structure?
Like we said, it's based on the amount of lines of code. So we say that you pay 16 euro per 100 lines of custom code per month. Okay, so we basically just look at the amount of lines of code that you had, divided by 100 and times 16 to get the monthly fee that the customer is paying.
Thank you. Sometimes upgrades take a lot of time to handle. Depends on studio and development. It might sometimes be a full implementation. What should be done in this aspect? Should we stick to dev only to make upgrade easier? For example, not mixing studio and dev, but I think you already tackled that during the presentation.
I think so.
And then a very last question, could there be a way to disable Odoo Studio completely without losing features such as approvals?
I don't really see what you mean with approvals with Studio, but if you uninstall Studio, it's going to remove all the custom views you made with Studio, custom fields, etc., etc. But you can always do that on a test database to make sure that.
Thank you. Time's up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation, and thank you everyone for listening.